Hi everybody, and welcome to another episode of Wilderness Physical Therapy Educators. I'm Paul Beattie, and today we're going to talk about how to take that little poncho that you have in your pack and set it up into a quick emergency shelter that could be a lifesaver for you in a tough situation. Remember, anytime you're in the backcountry and things can get a little bit tight, seeking shelter is always an important thing to do. When we think about shelter, we're thinking about seeking shelter from wind, we're thinking about seeking shelter from rain and snow, and we're also thinking about seeking shelter from excessive heat and sunshine. Sometimes the psychological effect of having a shelter put up can be a huge boost in an emergency situation. Now, sometimes we can have a little bit of time where we can look around and find a nice place to set up a shelter. Other times, if we have a patient who's injured and is not able to be moved, we have to set up a shelter over top of that person. So just a couple tips before we get started with our setup. When you're looking to find a place for a shelter, if you have a few minutes, try to find somewhere obviously that's going to be level and have somewhere where you can sit or lay down comfortably underneath it. And also look around and see if there's any potential for water to be funneled into it if it starts raining. And also look up above and see if there are any dead trees or branches that might come falling down on you, especially if the wind starts. So that's an important thing to consider first. Now, something that I really like is this army poncho that we mentioned a second ago. And this is ultra light. We can keep this in our pack, in the bottom of our pack. And then I usually try to keep something with it. Today we're going to use bungee cord to put up the tent. But you can also use a little 550 cord or paracord. I've even seen people use their bootlaces in a pinch to help to cinch it down. But the main thing is to be able to have something to anchor your tent to. Now here we're in a forest, so we've got some beautiful trees that just conveniently are in the right position. But sometimes you may not have that, and you might have to use a hiking pole, or you might have to tie your tent up to a boulder or something like that. Let's talk about the poncho. So you guys are probably familiar with this. And essentially this is designed as a rain garment. And it's got a little hood in the center. That hood goes over your head and you can put this poncho on. And it's a really excellent way to shield you from the rain, also acts as a good insulator. And the beauty of it is because it's so big, you can put this over your pack and it helps to keep your pack dry too. Now, the other big advantage of the poncho is that we can make our lean-to out of it, which is what today we're going to talk about. So if you're going to make a lean-to, the first thing you remember is to go ahead and take the hood up here and just tie it off. So I'll come up a little closer so you can see. And basically, you just take this and you go around a couple times so that the rain isn't going to come in through the open hole up there. And then this hood also is a really handy thing to use to hook onto an overhead branch or something like that you can use to help to create a little bit more room in your tent. So next thing is to ask yourself, how are you going to hook it up? Now the poncho has these little grommets. I'll come up a little closer again so you can see in the corners here, and we can just run a rope through there or a bungee cord through there. If you have for example, a tarp or something like that doesn't have grommets to it, you can just take a little pebble and put it in there and then just tie that off with your rope, and that acts as a really good anchor so you can still hang your tent up. So what we're going to do is we're going to put up one side of this on one tree, we're going to put up another side on another tree, and that's going to be the first thing we're going to do with our shelter. So I have a little bungee cord right here. I'm just going to hook it through. And now I'm going to put it just a few feet off the ground, like so. And that's going to hold right in place. Then I'm going to hook it over here on another bungee cord. And now you've got your basic shelter right here. So in a pinch, this could be a fantastic windbreak. And you can just sit down in the bottom under there, put your pack down, and the wind's coming this direction, you're good to go. If the wind's coming this direction, you stand on this side. In either case, it creates a great windbreak for you, which can be a huge deal in terms of getting comfortable in a rough environment. Now, next thing I'm going to do is I have a couple of stakes here. You can use professional stakes, or you can cut a little piece of wood or something. and I'm going to pull the two back sides of this tent out to turn into a lean-to. So we'll take the first one right here, we hook it through the grommet, and that goes in. Then we'll go to the other side. And now you have a very comfortable lean-to right here. You can nestle under there, or you can have your patient get under there, and that's a super protected area. If you want to jazz it up a little bit more, you can pull on the hood, and that in turn we can hook onto another rope, in this case a bungee. And now we've got a pretty fancy little spot to go ahead and to put our gear. And we can get under here, and it's very comfortable, and this will shield us from the rain, it'll shield us from the wind. So that's a quick way to put up your poncho tent. And in the next episode, we'll talk about how to stick a poncho tent up to use to protect you from the sun, and we'll also show you how to use your poncho tent to collect rainwater in a pinch that can help in a survival situation. So thank you guys, as always, for joining. It's great to see you, and I hope to see you down the trail.